大家好，欢迎回到我的频道，我是艾琳。Hey guys, are you looking for an app to learn Chinese with? And do you also sometimes struggle with the tones? Today I'm going to tell you about the pros and cons about an app that I have been using called Hello Chinese. Make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to go from talking about the more basic functions of the app to talking about the best and worst parts of the app. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the Multilingual Mind. On this channel, I talk about tips and tricks to learning and maintaining languages. If you want to see more videos on how to improve your language learning habits and reach your language learning goals, be sure to subscribe. 开始吧. Alright guys, let's go ahead and start off with the pros. One of the first pros that I would like to talk about is that there are 3 main courses that you can choose from. I chose the main course, which gives you over 1,000 words and gets you up to HSK level 4 by the end of it. There is also a pronunciation basics and pinyin course that you can take if you're maybe really struggling with the tones and the general basics of the language. Or there is a third option, which is the old course. I find it a little bit weird that they put this on there, but that will give you 500 words and then it will get you up to HSK level 3. So yeah, I would highly recommend the main course for those of you who would really like to dive into being able to read characters and focus on the pronunciation, but really be able to make some big strides. Another pro that I have for Hello Chinese is that they have the same tree format that Duolingo uses. I just found this really helpful to be able to figure out what was going on in the app. And they also have take a shortcut areas where it kind of correlates to the checkpoints used in Duolingo. So there are different checkpoints that you can go through, but they say take a shortcut. So I'm guessing you just test out of those areas if you would like to. I personally don't really click on those unless I am at the absolute end of the unit. But maybe if you're finding that you have a lot of things that you already know, maybe you want to go ahead and take a shortcut and just test out of it and get to the next level. Another really cool thing with this tree is that you can see at a glance which vocabulary words are in each lesson. I think this is really neat because, and I would actually really appreciate this if Duolingo did this, because when I go back to review with my Duolingo words, I would really like to be able to see which words are in each lesson, because Hobbies 1 or Hobbies 2 or Hobbies 3 doesn't really tell me which specific hobby words I was learning in that lesson. And so I really enjoy that about Hello Chinese because I can see at a glance which 4 or 5 general new words are being introduced, and that helps me be able to know what I want to review that day. There's also a nice review button, which I find really helpful. I think that they pick out words that are generally things that I had issues with, or maybe I had gotten wrong in the past here or there. And even if they're things that I almost had 100% right, if I clicked on it wrong once or twice, then it probably means that I could solidify that a little bit better. So I highly recommend the review option. Another thing I like is that you can click on the leaf and then click on words, and then you will be able to see what you've learned, and you will also be able to make flashcards based on 3 different categories: words, characters, or grammar. Something else that I really love about Hello Chinese is that they have this thing called Teacher Talk, and I will admit I don't have the paid version yet, but I tried out the lesson 1 version of the Teacher Talk, and it is a podcast-like format that also has something where you can see a lot of visuals, and they have like memes and things, and you can read along as they're talking about it in the podcast. And basically what they have is speak like a native type tips, and also tips on the grammar and just different ways to memorize things. And I think it really gives a human aspect to a lot of the grammar tips and I guess different cultural aspects that you might not be able to pick up in a regular course, or just simply wouldn't normally hear about in a regular course. At some point, I'm sure that I'll cave in and go ahead and get the paid version of Hello Chinese and go back and listen to the past lessons for the Teacher Talk, because I did find it super helpful, really interesting, and I would just love to see how the other lessons develop. Another really interesting part of the app is that they have a speaking practice area, and I thought this was kind of fun because it presents itself almost as a text messaging system. So they will say something and then it will go ahead and just start recording you right away. And you're gonna have to give a response back and have a conversation essentially. And kind of what I like about this, guys, is that it does put you on the spot. At first I wasn't very keen on it, but I do kind of like that it puts you on the spot and you do have to just answer right away instead of having so much think time to be able to really process what you want to say and then finally hit record. Because I think this is very realistic. In real life, you're not going to be able to pause and think about what you want to say. You're just going to have to respond pretty quickly. So this is really nice just to get you in there and practicing your speaking, maybe before you're confident enough to speak with native speakers. They do also have a character writing practice, although they only pick certain characters to practice with, and I will say that it's a very much a minimum of characters. But it's very much like Skritter, where you get a little bit of an introduction to stroke order. You have to do it in the right stroke order or it will literally will not let you go forward. And then you can also click on a button to see the character if you're really at a loss and you don't know what the character looks like at all, or where to start, or what the next stroke is. You can always kind of click on that hint for a little bit and then click it away so that you can write the rest of the character on your own. So that's kind of a nice add-in that Duolingo does not have, but however, it's very minimal. So if you're really looking for a writing app, I would go ahead and get Skritter. Okay, now it's time for me to nerd out on some of the things that I loved about this app the most. And as a teacher of foreign languages, when I came across this, I was so excited. They have native speakers in Hello Chinese, and you get to see a little mini video of them. And there's quite a few of them throughout the lesson, in every lesson. And they don't really doctor them up. The native speakers will just go ahead and speak at whatever pace they want, and it's usually pretty fast and sort of hard to understand. But you can also click on the little snails to have it read to you a little bit slower, so you can play it back a little bit slower. But sometimes I think just like the regular speed helps out the most, and just listen to it several times and you guys will get it. But this is really cool because it is an authentic resource and it's teaching your ears to be able to hear that real authentic native speech at the speed in which it is spoken in everyday life. The next thing that I have for you guys is a little bit of a hint. So normally they charge, I would say, a kind of a hefty amount for this app compared to other apps which are free or minimal cost. But I will say that they sometimes have deals, guys. So for example, on Easter, they had 30% off, which is a really nice option if you're not ready to dole out another $50, or I think they had another subscription for like $100. So if you're not ready to spend that kind of money, maybe you just wait for the next holiday and then maybe there'll be another discount. I know I'm sort of sitting here crossing my fingers that there will be another one because I didn't take advantage of the last one. So maybe the next holiday that rolls around, I will go ahead and invest in some Hello Chinese. Okay, this is the last pro that I have, and I think it is my absolute favorite about Hello Chinese. I think it is one of the, I don't know, after the native speaker thing, I think it's probably like the other top reason why I still use Hello Chinese and why I haven't just deleted it, because it's, they're a little bit similar to like Duolingo. So this is the reason, because they overpronounce the tones very dramatically. And you will never forget the tones if you use Hello Chinese, I guarantee it. They say the tones loud, clear, and separately, and then you have to listen to it again after you've clicked all the individual words and heard all of the tones individually. They will say the sentence again as a whole at the end to train your ears to how the tones change when it's in a sentence and when certain tones are with others. For example, like if you have two third tones, one of them will turn into the second tone. And so it's just very interesting how much I've been able to remember the tones based on this app alone. So if you guys are having any problems with tones, you have to get this app. For example, I will never forget 西瓜. Watermelon is tone 1 and tone 1 because
西瓜.
Yeah. So whether you want to remember the tone or not, too bad. You will have remembered it at this point.
西瓜，西瓜，西瓜，瓜。
I'm sorry, but who is ever going to forget the tones after that? Before we go on to the cons, I'm going to give you guys one tip. If you live with any type of a family or living thing in your house, please put in headphones while you are practicing. My dog audibly sighs and walks into the bedroom every single time I practice with Hello Chinese. So if you don't want to annoy your family and have them on the verge of kicking you out, I would go ahead and put in headphones. All right, let's start with our first con. One thing that I don't really enjoy about Hello Chinese is their written portion. I'm glad that they have something, but I'm just not sure how helpful it is when you only teach like 1 or 2 characters. And I'm not a big fan of their artwork for their characters. I just prefer Chinesey instead. Sorry, Hello Chinese. So another con that I have is in the review with a native speaker portion, which assumes that you know how to operate a Chinese keyboard. Luckily, I had looked this up before and I already had added the keyboard with Tandem, another app that I recommend. But some people really probably have never had any experience with this, and I could imagine being quite frustrated not knowing what the heck you were supposed to do when you got to that portion, and you just had a normal American keyboard and had no idea how to type out these characters that they wanted. So I don't know if like pinyin was also accepted in there. I don't know, but then you're gonna have to type in like tones somehow. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should have had like a little intro course first on that of like how to, you know, like a little video of like how to download or how to get a Chinese keyboard on your phone so that people would be able to access that first before moving forward. Just a little bit of an intro to that would have been nice. So the next con that I have is a bit of a pro and a con at the same time. It's a little bit odd. It is the slow pace of Hello Chinese. So because the tones are so overpronounced, which I do see as a huge pro, I mean, I love that about it. That's why I keep using this app. But I do notice that I go through a little bit fewer lessons and that I get through less content in the same time that I would with Duolingo. So I generally learn more words and more characters with Duolingo, but with Hello Chinese, I really thoroughly learn the words that I learn and the tones that go with them really thoroughly. However, with Duolingo, sometimes I really have to click again or wait for a portion where I will be able to hear the tone clearly enough to really get which tone it is. So if I can see the pinyin, for example, but in some situations I can't see the pinyin on Duolingo, so I just kind of have to wait around for it to see that again. However, with Hello Chinese, I guess the silver lining is that you, even though you might go at a little bit slower of a pace with learning, like how, you know, with learning vocabulary words, you will be able to learn the tones really clearly and effectively, and I don't think that you will regret that. So if you're contemplating doing Hello Chinese, I would say yes, but do it maybe in conjunction with another app like Duolingo. I really like those two paired together because Duolingo really teaches me a ton of vocabulary, and Hello Chinese kind of brings it back and teaches me the tones really clearly so that I'm able to have a more well-rounded education. Okay, so my last con is the price. I think that they charge a lot of money for this app compared to other apps out there. And the fact that they have Duolingo is free, and then you have Hello Chinese with like pretty high prices, honestly, it really made me think twice before investing into this app. But they do have some things that are really cool. Like, I think it was called the Teacher Talk, where they had those podcast-like things where they're teaching you all sorts of cultural and grammatical tips. I just feel like if it were a little bit cheaper, I would probably jump in a lot faster and enjoy it and keep it for longer. But, you know, I'll just keep waiting for that next holiday when there's a big discount, and then maybe I'll jump in at that point. Surprise extra at the end. Okay, so my surprise extra is that The Hello Chinese also has a YouTube channel, which you guys should check out. I watched a couple of their videos. They seem to have kind of an odd smattering of videos, but one of them was called Ni Hao Nicknames, and this one was kind of cute. It was showing like nicknames that Chinese people have for certain celebrities and why. So they will describe why certain celebrities have certain nicknames and how they got named that way. And another thing that you should check out from them is the Hello China podcast. Have you used Hello Chinese before? What did you think of it? I'd love to see your ideas in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to see more videos on the resources and methods that I'm using to learn Chinese. That's all I've got for today. 下次见. Bye bye.